Hey guys, welcome to another video. We're going to be looking at two games from the recent WePlay Rocket League Invitationals today, and these games highlight unbelievable individual performances. The second one we're going to take a look at will be Itachi from Karmine Corp against BDS, but first of all, we've got G2's Chicago up against NRG. So we're on Chicago POV for this whole game, and already he's got some work to do because Squishy's trying to bump him, and he dodges that while also saving Justin's shot to the side, buying his team plenty time to come back and help him out. Now, I'm not making these, or I'm not making this video, I should say. I'm not showing you guys these games to try and tell you that Chicago and Itachi are having to consistently 1v3 on their respective teams, because that simply isn't the case. I think that both those teams are crazy good across the board, and I expect them to be top 5 in their respective regions by the time we reach the first major of the new RLCS season. So that's coming up not too long in the future, actually, in December. I believe 8th to 12th are the dates, but don't trust me on that. I definitely double check in case I got that wrong. But yeah, December 8th to 12th, I think, that's the first major event, first international event, and the first LAN that we've had for Rocket League in 2 years. And I think that all the teams you're going to see on this video are going to be there. That's my early prediction. I think they're going to be good enough, and that's because although Chicago and Itachi put in work in this video in these two games, you know, backed up by Drees and JNaps and Astral and Stake, you've just got star-studded rosters there, all-star lineups, and NRG and BDS, obviously, I think the two best teams from the EU and NA in RLCS Season X, even though Vitality were able to beat BDS in the championships. So, Chicago getting one goal early on here on the counter-attack, but this one I think should have probably been a goal for NRG. We saw an uncontested shot hit the post, that should have been on target, and then a third man commit for a ball that looked to be a bit risky. So, one quick goal for Chicago from a position that they probably shouldn't have had an advantage in, but you got to take your chances. And if it wasn't him, it looked like there was another G2 player ready to do it as well. Now, Chicago's a player who loves to break rotation. He loves to head back towards the ball while he's going back towards his half. You see here he's actually going straight back towards the center of the box. And did he actually just get a save there? I'm going to rewind this one time because I think the replay lagged. No, he didn't. Okay. Because it looked a bit laggy on the replay there. The ball somehow didn't touch him. Oh, it looked like it kind of touched him, but not really. I wasn't sure if it was just a replay bug. But that was not actually a save for Chicago. Might have actually just gone sideways off the shot. Yeah, Chicago doesn't like to rotate back into his half the way that a lot of misled, misguided Rocket League players will tell you to, and that's to rotate away from the play. Oh, what a shot. Chicago nearly got a second goal. He likes to stay active as he's leaving the play, whether that's to get boost steals, demos, or just to pressure the ball from behind, or just to cut off a pass, make himself available for a pass from one of his teammates. You'll often see him doing this, and there, I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He just heads straight back towards the ball and knocks it on after a clear comes towards it. So, you know, teams who go up against Chicago and up against G2, you've always got to watch out for this. He loves to sneak in behind. He's definitely the enforcer for this team, and then Drees, a bit more of the defensive player, and JNap's the finisher for a lot of the shots that Chicago sets up. Brilliant placement on that finish though by Chicago, it's worth mentioning. Shooting behind the goalkeeper who had dove a little bit too far in front of it, but I mean, you got to guess left or right. You can't cover the whole goal. And now Chicago trying to knock the ball into the corner. Actually leaves it somewhat in the middle. That's not what he was trying to do there. He would have much rather a more deft touch on it so he can get it into the corner. But great work in the midfield by Drees. Second assist for him. Chicago with his third goal. So already amassing almost 800 points. That's just unreal to see in less than 4 minutes in a pro game. Oh, and look at that pass as well. I mean, that didn't result in a goal, but that is a brilliant blind pass from Chicago. Just cheeky infield. The defense think he's shooting. He's actually playing the infield pass, and that's a really important aspect of all the best infield passes. Is you've got to convince the opponents that you're doing something else, whether that is you know, a shot, or whether it's a backboard pass, whether it's just You know, you want to fake a controlling touch. You never want to telegraph an infield pass. You have to look like you're doing something else when you're doing them, and that's what Chicago did in that position. As always, trying to get demos on the exit as he picks up the mid boost now, perfectly timing the spawn. Had a second or so to wait for it. And now Chicago one-on-one with Squishy, reset secured, and absolutely no doubt about the finish. That's emphatic to go over 900 points with his 4th goal, 4 saves, and a whole lot of work in the midfield. Just what a presence Chicago has been in this game. Most games that you see this kind of points total in, you're looking at a long overtime where you know, saves and shots and all of the ball touches have accumulated. But this has just been a normal game. 5 minutes, no overtime, 917 points for Chicago, and his teammates, you know, 228 and 192. Those aren't terrible points totals to be getting. It's not like one of them stuck on less than 100 points with zeros across the board. I mean, a couple of assists there for Dries, and JNap's definitely getting a look at the goal a couple of times, or 4 times I should say. You know, they did work, actually, getting more points than Garrett and Squishy in this one, but nothing, absolutely nothing compared to Chicago's monstrous total. So unreal game here. Really good stuff from Chicago. But even in a crazy game like this, there's small improvements that could be made. I think we saw him slightly out of position 1 or 2 times in defense with the ball going over his head, but that's the beauty of Rocket League. Even if you play one of the best games ever in a pro game at the highest level, there's still things you could have done better. So great game there by Chicago. Looking forward to seeing more of him and G2 in this upcoming season. And like I said, I think they're going to be top 5. I really do believe that they're going to be top 5. So G2 fans, don't doubt. You know, I know there's been a lot of pain in the past, but don't doubt. Trust me, I think they can do it. And NRG as well, although that's obvious. Okay, let's get into the second game. It's time for EU Middle East. It's an EU matchup. Middle East are part of the tournament as well. Let's get into it. Okay, like I said earlier, we're going to be looking at Itachi's POV of his game against BDS. He's teaming with Astral and Stake for this season. Last season, at the end of Season X, he was already teaming with Stake, and their third was Zamwe. But the addition of Astral has definitely caught the attention of all hardcore Rocket League fans, and even the casuals alike. This is a crazy team. I mean, Astral, Itachi have got just unbelievable carry potential, and then Stake is, I think, one of the most he's at the same time one of the most improved players of RLCS Season X, and also underrated, maybe even by myself at times, but I definitely rate him, and he's one of the absolute best keyboard and mouse players in the world right now, up there with Torsos and maybe even the best. But Itachi, I've been waiting for this guy to really show his true form, because I don't think RLCS Season X, especially at the end, was a good example of just how impressive this guy can be. And we're looking at a player here who's been around since the very beginning. He actually, I think, qualified for RLCS Season 1, but then he was disqualified from that league play because he wasn't actually in Europe at the time, and you needed to be in Europe to compete in Europe for RLCS. He was in Morocco, that's where he's from, and Morocco being so close to Europe, just across the Mediterranean, they get pretty good connections to the EU servers, so he managed to qualify. I forget who his team was at the time, but he was DQ'd only years later to actually move to Europe and then get picked up by Barcelona, I think he was initially, to play in RLCS. So amazing story and great history this guy's got, and he's always been a monster in ranked, even throughout the years where he couldn't play RLCS. He was just like the top Middle East players in Europe, just incredibly high rated, incredibly respected, but wasn't able to play. Now he is, and this is definitely the best team that he's ever been part of on paper. Love the triple commit. That's something that out of all the top teams in Europe and maybe even the world right now, you're probably most likely to see from Karmine Corp. These guys love to be ultra aggressive, and those of you who watch Saltmine Atlantic Draft will maybe notice that this is actually the team that Jesse drafted for the tournament. And no, they didn't just become a real team after playing really well in SMAD. They were already a real team before that, but they were an unproven real team. They'd never played a tournament, I believe, before SMAD, so we weren't really sure what to expect from them, although everybody had, of course, high hopes. And when you see this roster on paper, you know it's going to be something special. But okay, half of the game's gone, and Itachi's got 293 points, 1 goal that was a tap-in. Here's another goal that's a tap-in, and he's got 1 save. So you're probably thinking, Johnny, why are you showing us this game? You know, nothing really to talk about, you know, nothing to write home about. And I would agree, the first half of this game, nothing to write home about. Itachi's scored 2 tap-ins, and he's got 395 points. You know, he's definitely been effective, and he's helped his team out-pressure BDS, which is rare to see. But there has to be more to this game in order for it to really be that special. And trust me, there is. So there's a second save for Itachi as we approach 2 minutes remaining. And with that save, he was able to guide the ball into the corner. And, okay, well, there's another defensive touch, but it didn't even register as a save. I'm going to keep tapping the scoreboard here so we can see the progression of Itachi's stat line in the final 2 minutes of this one. Itachi making a pretty smart play there. Knows that his team have probably got control for a moment, so takes that time to grab mid boost. And that not only gives him the boost that he needs to defend for the next attack that BDS have for them, but also leaves back corner boost and small boost pads near his goal for his teammates to pick up after they make a touch. You're not just helping yourself when you grab mid boost, you're also helping your teammates, if you can do it at the right time, of course. So Itachi up to 4 saves. We just saw another one moments ago. Now trying to pressure in the midfield, but the infield pass doesn't quite reach Stake, who was deeply positioned waiting for it. BDS piling on the pressure once again, but Itachi lands on the inside of the post, recovers quickly to deflect another shot clear. That puts him up to 5 with almost 700 points on the board. Again, in regulation time, just like the game we saw from Chicago, this doesn't go to overtime. I know, bit of a spoiler, but that's the key about today's games. No overtime to inflate your stat line. Itachi and Carmine Corp doing work, and you know, on that note, Carmine Corp must be pretty delighted with this roster so far. That's a huge org in Europe. It's great to have them in the Rocket League scene. Pre-jump save attempt by Itachi. Actually, I'm going to rewind this because he might have got a save credit for this. He did in fact get a save credited to his total there, even though the ball ended up in the net. But I think, you know, he probably deserved some credit because he did in fact save the first shot. It was dunked in afterwards. Now Astral, diving save to deny mark by 8, the equalizer. An extra denied by an Itachi pre-jump. Not the first and definitely not the last that we're going to see. But still, a chance for BDS to come back here, but not with Itachi's reads in defense. That's 8 saves. That's 900 points in a regulation time game. And unless BDS can pull out a miracle, that's how this one's going to end. And you already know it is, because I told you. But like I said, that was kind of the point of this video. But once more, just look at that ridiculous score for Itachi. What a ridiculous game. Great defense, and you know, really good defensive positioning when he's in the net. One of the things that I want to highlight from Itachi is that he's never off the goal line. You'd probably see even pro players in this game, if they tried to play a game like this, they'd probably let in 1 or 2 of these goals, because when they're waiting for shots to come at them, they creep off the goal line or they just end up slightly out of position. But not Itachi in this game. He was able to always be far enough back to react, and when he didn't want to have to react, pre-jump and read to perfection. So crazy goal line defense from him, really adding to 2 tap-ins that he was able to score early on in this one. But you know, we pointed out he was barely over 300 points halfway through this game, then he put up 600 in the second half with defensive masterclass. So that's Itachi, that's Carmine Corp. If you didn't know much about Itachi coming into this season, I think you're going to need to get educated through this season, because he is, I think, going to be one of the absolute best players in the world. I already think he's one of the best players in the world, but results in RLCS Season X would tell you otherwise. He didn't have a great season, especially towards the end. But yeah, these guys, just like NRG, just like G2, I predict that they're going to both be in the first major, the international major of the year, in Sweden. I think these are two of the teams that are going to qualify. I'll probably give a full prediction of who's going to qualify soon. So I'll save the others. I'll save the rest of my list for then. But that's all we've got time for today. Two crazy games played by Chicago and Itachi against the absolute best teams in their respective regions. So if you like this, then let me know in the comments. If you want to see me cherry pick other games like this or highlighting other aspects of high level Rocket League, then let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do, because there's going to be plenty more of this and plenty more games and tournaments like this when RLCS comes back in, I think, less than a month from now. It's pretty crazy. That time's going to fly by, so looking forward to that as well. But thanks for watching. As always, guys, have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you happen to be, and I'll see you guys in the next one.